Hey, Kayla.
Hey, it's just us, eh?
Yep. It used to be Barry who was always very, very prompt. He always was at least 1 minute ahead of scheduled time.
I
So,
remember,
yeah.
and I feel bad because I started becoming prompt after he passed, you know. Uh,
Well, yeah, I mean, this is obviously not a commitment, but it's kind of curious, how Barry was. I actually do think that a lot of this was social for Barry.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I am getting ready to head over to Long Beach to pick up Damien. I just took the
Right.
dogs for a walk and briefly did my finances. I know what's really interesting is if I pay off all my bills, then my credit score goes up, but not by much. If I have at least 20% credit utilization, it goes up by a lot. So I just find that bullshit, to be honest.
Well, these credit people do play games. It turns out, if you have a lot of credit,
Yeah.
people are more willing to give you credit.
Yep. That's why
Because they
I
say,
always try to increase my limit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So now then it becomes kind of keeping that credit limit pretty high too. So I know that they will, if they see that your credit's paid off and you don't use it, they're going to lower your limit.
Yep. I've had cards canceled on me because I didn't use them.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
Yeah. With
But anyway,
substantial amount of credit available.
right. It's the
Oh, are you
capitalist
picking up?
society.
Yeah, I know. God, yeah. There's so many examples of how it's toxic now.
I know.
And I don't want you to get tired of this, but the more I look overseas, maybe it's just the grass is always greener. But man, people are actually nice to each other. People slow down a bit. They enjoy life more. They're not always, win lose, zero sum.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Oh my gosh. I agree. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was writing my friend. So I write my friend so that I can kind of keep all of those emails that I write. Um, anyhow, I was just remembering, before I had kids, how much I would travel and how much I really longed to live in another country. Yeah. Even when I visited, like Costa Rica with my kids, it's like everything my body remembered, what it was like to not really care so much. And to get used to things like other people caring about, what happens to my kids and me.
Yeah.
Max, Max was playing with them. Well, he was playing really close to this huge log that washed him into the beach. And I don't know why he chose that spot, but this local guy just came running up to him and just basically said, "Don't play here because when the waves come, this log is going to hit you." So
Wow.
honestly, I don't think that would have happened here in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, it's little reminders like that, I'm not perfect, but it makes me more diligently return shopping carts, to where they're supposed to be,
Oh, yeah.
and more conscious of trash and litter everywhere.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Hmm. I don't know if I mentioned, but when I was in Taiwan, not this time because I didn't do so much walking around, well, except for one day. But the previous trip, when I spent almost every single day going out and night markets and whatever, on the streets, if you're like walking from one bus stop to your destination or, just between places, I noticed that Taiwan has no trash cans on the street. And yet the streets are free from litter. People just take care of their own trash.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
On the walk with my dog. We have to avoid trash and anything that doesn't that looks pretty suspicious because my dogs will gobble it all up like they did that one time they gobbled up some poison and I had to take them to the doggy ER.
I remember you said that. Yeah. Mm.
And that's how my debt increased.
So you don't use pet insurance then?
I do.
Ooh,
But still, I mean, okay, so
I know. I know exactly.
yeah.
I know exactly.
Yeah, you know what's up. It's like the pet insurance is great, but the deductible is like $1,000 and it's usually like
Exactly.
$1,500 for you to, you know, like oh, $1,500 was the bill that I had per pet, and my deductible was 1,000. So, while I got some money back, it was still like, well, your pet's sick, and we have to do all these tests. It's like, oh, the tests alone cost probably $1,000,
Yeah.
and then keeping them overnight and keeping them hydrated and stuff, and neither of them went home with meds. So, you know, it sucks, but at least I do
Well,
have insurance.
it doesn't sound to me like they have problems with your claims. I had insurance that would just always push back on every claim. That's why I just canceled it. I mean,
Oh,
it's a
really?
nice idea. Oh yeah, I'll just say it for the record, petsbest.com, okay? Man, they're really slow about paying claims, really bad about, oh, well, you need this additional support evidence or documentation, and they make it necessary for you to follow up and be very diligent. And if you just assume, yeah, well, it's filed and it's going to get paid, no. Then after 30 days, they say, okay, we close this case because you didn't provide this piece of evidence or that piece of evidence or whatever. So it's a scam about how they can just, they're the United Health, it seems, of
Oh, that
pet
sucks.
insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not good.
I was not happy.
Yeah, I don't have problems. I have a embrace with Geico.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
mentioned
they
that.
they have like the typical diagnosis that they put, on the drop down menu, but they also have like a portion where you can explain what happened to your pet. So I did that, and no questions were asked whatsoever. So they reimbursed me right away.
Wow, that's actually a good idea because I hadn't thought that a normal insurance carrier would do pet insurance, but I have my normal insurance with USAA, which, by the way, used to be a very good company. And they might still be better than average, I don't know. But I have never
Right.
checked into whether they have pet insurance. I probably should. Hmm. So are you picking up Damien and his girlfriend or just Damien?
Oh, just Damien. His girlfriend has normal parents that don't let
Oh.
her sleep over. Oh my gosh, I still trip out on Sophia's parents and how they just like let her sleep over for I don't know, they were together for 3 years and they let her sleep over for the 2 years that you know he was in Long Beach seeing her.
Yeah, let's see. When I was growing up, I don't think that ever happened. That was not my experience.
Yeah, I had to sneak guys into my house.
Say more about that, Kayla. On the record, Kayla.
Honestly, nothing happened, but I did sneak in. Okay, so I was with
Good
my friend
save, good
Erin.
save.
Yeah, no, honestly, nothing happened. The funny thing is, like, a lot of people think, thought, or maybe still do, think certain things about me based on the decision the decisions I've made, and I understand. I mean, they aren't like the wisest decisions, but
Mhm.
and they look bad in nature. So I was with my friend Erin, and we had, um, at the time I was driving, and I was the only one with the car, and we picked up some friends, some guy friends. So there's three guys with us, and one of them had acid. He was a really bad guy, and because I was driving, I didn't partake in the acid, of course, but the rest of the group did. And so they wanted a place to trip out, right? So I was all like, "Well, my parents are asleep right now. We could go to my house." So yeah, I had a two-story house. My parents' master bedroom was downstairs, and all the kids' room were upstairs. And so at the time, my sister was living with us, and but she was in college, and she was home for the day. And I remember pulling up, and I went up to her, and I'm like, "Hey, me and my friends are going to go up in my room." And she saw that there was like three guys in the back of the car, so she was all shocked and stuff. And she's like, "Oh my god!" And I said, "Well, nothing's happening. We're just going to go up, and we're just going to chat." And she was just like, "Well, you better not let mom and dad like catch you, and if they do, I don't know anything, okay?" And then she was like, "I'm really disappointed." So she lectured me, for like a few minutes, and then I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, whatever." And so all three of us, or all five of us, went upstairs in my room. And anyways, the the four of them, Aaron and the three guys, ended up just tripping out in the closet, in my walk-in closet. I remember we all just like kind of sat there like kumbaya, and just I don't know what we were doing, probably just talking, giggling. I know there was a lot of that, and that was it. Nothing happened. Nobody hooked up with each other. Nobody got weird and violent. Nobody got perverted. In fact, the three boys ended up sleeping in the closet, and me and Aaron passed out. But that was seriously all that happened. That was it.
This is one time, or this is just
Yeah,
like a
just one
regular thing?
time.
Ah,
That was just one time. That was so funny. My sister was all
see,
like, "Oh my god, I'm so disappointed," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
that's so foreign to my experience. I don't see how drugs could be more interesting than, let's say, you. You know,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
I'm
understand
pretty sure
drugs.
they're interesting with somebody else. I don't know. So you've never even tried like marijuana?
I've tried marijuana. I tried once in college, and it made me cough, of course, because that was my first time. Uh,
You got totally high after that. I know
and I
that.
don't think I tried very much. It was like two or three puffs, and I don't really remember having any kind of a big change of perspective or feeling or anything. So I thought, didn't do anything for me. So decades went by, and then when Amy started going to UW, well, I visited her one time, and we were in her apartment, and we got some takeout, or she made something, and she says, "Hey, Dad, every night before dinner, I always, smoke a little weed." And she said, "You want to try it with me?" So I said, "Okay, fine." I told her the story about the college experience. So for about 3 or 4 nights, maybe just three, I don't know, but it was more than one. We would smoke a little weed. Yeah, I would take a few puffs, and she would tell me how to do it and how to hold it and this sort of thing. And she had, I don't know how many bottles she had, maybe two or three. So I had to try a couple, also with the water.
Yeah.
And I did not, again, notice much. I did notice a little bit of effect, more so than in college. But again, not much. It's not something that I say, oh, this is great. I'm going to try it again, or I need this. It wasn't that kind of a feeling. It was just, hmm, interesting. That was it for me. But it seemed to do enough for Amy that she did it every night. So that's my experience. So even after that experience with Amy, I haven't felt the need. Nobody else has really had an opportunity. I don't even know where to get any. I don't even know how much it costs. I don't know how to, store it, light it, take care of it, preserve it, sell it. I don't know anything about all that. This is 100% of my experience with marijuana, what I just told you. So consider me boring.
Oh, it's good to be boring. Probably better.
But the more studies I read, the more are that, it does have long-term effects on the brain.
It does.
And people used to say it doesn't. And I think that was wishful thinking. Because more and more studies are coming out, at least what I'm seeing, is that yeah,
Yeah.
don't do it. And if you then stop or years later, it seems to increase your likelihood of anxiety.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah, so that's all I know.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
curiously, so go ahead, please.
no, curiously, go finish.
For some reason, when this is like years ago, Gail tried it to try and manage her anxiety. But I don't know that she ever felt that it was good or good enough for her that she still has a jar, one of these standard like Smucker's strawberry jam jars, about 6 or 7 inches tall, and it looks like it's full of weed, but it's been
Right.
untouched, and she doesn't feel like she needs it or wants it or whatever. So she's just got on her shelf, I know, for like over a year or two. So
Yeah.
it's not something that people probably feel is that addictive.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It is though addictive. It's because you kind of get addicted to the effect because it does help with anxiety. So it goes either way. It either helps with anxiety or exacerbates the anxiety. When I was before I had kids, I used to do it all the time, and it helped
Hmm.
me to focus. It helped me to overcome anxiety. I really didn't know that I had anxiety. I just knew that I enjoyed smoking weed and I was better in public when I was, and I did normal things. I drove, which probably wasn't a good idea. I, got a haircut. I like went to the mall and stuff, and
Hmm.
everything was fine. There were no worries. I didn't have any anxiety. I didn't have any racing thoughts or anything, and that's why I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
So, unfortunately, after I smoked, or after I had kids, I couldn't go back to that because everything in my body rearranged, my hormones rearranged, everything just was different. And so now when I take it, I do take it to just kind of calm my mind because my mind does race a little bit, and I do have a little bit of anxiety. Um, but it does help me focus. The only thing is, it does become addicting because um, I always think like, oh man, I would love like if right now I'm gonna, go in my car and go on a long drive. It'd be really nice to drive. I drive at like 70 miles an hour. Everything's cool. Like my reflexes are totally fine. I just don't have this like anxiousness, like, oh my God, I'm in the car. My like mind is racing or anything like that.
Hmm.
And that's where it becomes kind of like, I really don't need that. I could just really kind of tell my mind that, to calm, to slow down. I don't have to go past 70 miles an hour, especially if I give myself enough time. It's much safer, so I don't need those things to make me, think better. So that's the only difference when I smoke weed versus when I don't. So,
So what
lately, Go ahead, ask a question.
Sorry, I think this connection delay makes me think that you're done when you're not done. I apologize.
Don't worry about it. I'm used to it. Ask away.
So when you have an evening where you say, "Hey, it'd be nice to have a glass of wine," or the other possible thought is, "Oh, it'd be nice to have I don't even know what to call it, a joint, a smoke, a puff, whatever." Um, which is stronger? And do you want one for different effects, possibly each evening?
um, let's see. It really kind of depends. So unfortunately, right now, wine it just makes me sleepy, and when I drink it, like yeah, I have to stay home. I can't go anywhere. Um, I'm worthless to people if they do come over. It just makes me sleepy and relaxes me, and I go to sleep. But if I have weed, and I usually just do an edible because I can't smoke it anymore. If I smoke it, I'll cough a lot, and I don't want to do that because you get higher when you cough. So when I take an edible, it lasts a little longer and I could do stuff, but it's just different, you know? So wine, I usually have wine with food, especially if it's a really good pairing. I'll have some red wine with like a steak or something, or, I'll have some white wine with cheese and fruit. But again, it just makes me sleepy. But weed, I could just have it and chill out. Yeah. But it does make me paranoid. I don't like to be around my kids when I'm like, on weed. I usually just let them do whatever they want. And that's what causes like Max to be on social media for like 9 hours. Is because I get sloppy and I don't pay attention to him.
Well, that's really anti what I used to think because I thought people use weed in order to relax and get less anxious. And I know you said it could go either way, but I didn't know that it would actually make people
Yeah.
more anxious in the moment. I knew that if you stopped using weed later on, you would be more high anxiety. But I didn't know that in the moment it could make you more anxious.
Yeah. Yeah. It can. Every experience is different, just like everybody who drinks, their experience is different as well. I do know my friend Casey, she said that she doesn't drink anymore because it tends to make her violent.
Yes, I know
So,
that effect.
yeah, yeah. So I don't get violent when I'm drinking. I get happy, and that's what I liked about drinking. I was fun, or I thought it was fun. But then I realized, like, if I drank too much, I was a little bit obnoxious. But now I'm just sleepy and worthless.
Well, that sleep effect, I guess, is why the stereotype exists of guys trying to get girls drunk.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh,
What kind
and
of
if
self-image
they're a
does a
lot
guy
more
need to
fun.
have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can
Um,
understand the fun aspect if your inhibitions go down a little bit. I can understand that. But to make somebody, pass out, and that's the only way you get to molest a girl or a woman, what kind of a low self-image do you have to have of yourself to do that?
or you just,
Yet it
you
seems to
know,
be pretty popular. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, or you just don't, you have any self-control.
Well, that's another abomination.
Yeah.
Yeah, how far are you going to go in life with no self-control?
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Hey, girl. My dog's hyper. I'm just gonna put you, or I'm just gonna talk to my son real quick to let him know
Okay,
that I'm
sure.
leaving.
Yeah.
But I am, I'll be fine. Hold on, Max. Max, I'm leaving to pick up Damien. Okay, I'm gonna leave your door open. Okay, there. Okay,
Now I can talk. I'm free.
So, in your experience, since you've had these experiences, this background, should I try weed more? Is there something I'm not getting by not trying weed?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. There's nothing really that you're getting, you know. If you want an alternate experience from time to time, yeah, I'd say try weed, but you're probably better off like hiking or bungee
Yes,
jumping or traveling.
traveling. There you go.
Yeah.
Hiking, a couple miles with the dogs.
Yeah. Like in a different location
hmm
if you want to change it up.
One of the reasons I like going to the dog park instead of just along my street is you get to meet, some other dogs and some other people.
Yeah.
And I've never had a bad experience at a dog park other than one time. There's always that one time.
Of
Uh,
course.
but, like 99% of the time, people are friendly. They talk about their dog, your dog. They let the dog sniff each other. They go play. They chase the ball. You talk about, hey, how long you been on the island? Where'd you come from? It's really cool. And that's the kind of experience that, I don't get him when I just walk around my neighborhood because the population is so sparse in my neighborhood that I have to drive 10 miles to the dog park uh, to, let the dogs meet other dogs and to let me meet other dog owners.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you have generally a good experience. That's not the
Oh,
case where there is a lot more people.
really?
Yeah. You know, I always hear of dog attacks, um, especially in the dog park because owners just don't really pay attention to their pets. Most people in general don't have an idea of what their pet is conveying. And I have an idea. I probably have more awareness than most people,
Mhm.
just because they just don't tend to pay attention to their dogs. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example of like miscommunication. So everybody thinks that if a dog wags its tail, it means it's happy. It could also mean that the dog is overly excited and anxious.
Mhm. Mhm.
When dogs lick their lips, that's a true sign of it being really uncomfortable. So if they're constantly licking, if you approach it and you're close by and it's licking its lips, that's a sign that it's very uncomfortable around you, and you should stand back and give them space. If a
Sure.
dog like turns its head just like a human, don't keep approaching it. And on top of that, if you do have like a powerful dog, like my dog, even your dog, most large breeds, you definitely don't want to get in the dog's face, and you definitely want to watch children with the dogs.
Yeah, hang on. Turn
So
off this alarm.
I'm sorry.
I have to turn off this alarm. You can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it.
Nope.
Oh, good. So the sound filtering took that alarm away? Nice.
Yeah, you have sound filtering.
On Zoom. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I am gonna go into my car, and it might have a second or two of lag. So,
Okay. All right.
okay. No, Rocky, no. Rocky loves going on road trips with me, but you are staying. Poor guy.
Hey, while you're doing that transition, let me describe what I'm seeing outside right now. It's what, mid-September? And
Yes.
this is the first time this year that I can remember where I look out there and it's foggy and I can't from my window, I can't see the water anymore. So it's just like I'm just suspended in clouds right now. I love these mornings where I can see that it's very, I mean, if you're religious, you would call this heavenly.
Yes.
That we're just up in the clouds. and I love
Yep.
that.
I had clouds this morning too.
Nice.
Now it's lifting.
It's still the time of year where I can keep all the windows and doors open, and the dogs can just come and go. And so now Hera is just sleeping on the deck, and I'm just sitting here watching her sleep. The cat's, just meandering, and it just looks like we're just in the clouds.
I wish I had um dogs that were cool with like oh my god, my dogs run away. Well, plus the area is not
Hmm.
safe for them. They'd probably get hit by cars. So
Well, you certainly have a strong preference for huskies, I can
I had texted in.
surmise.
Yeah. Just because I don't know how to feel when a teacher does that. So my original thoughts were, this can't really be good. Yeah, I see where the teacher is coming from, but at the same time, like to be able to tell the entire staff that, it just kind of made me go, let me think about this a little bit. So my train of thought went with like, first of all, what do you need? Tell the whole staff, and this guy clearly, from what I understand, stated his sorry, I'm making a right and this guy is like impairing my vision. So he clearly stated that he has conservative views too and doesn't feel safe to talk about his conservative views. And I thought, that's a valid point. Like if you're conservative and you don't feel safe to talk about it, I understand. At the same time, it makes me question, like, what was said between that guy and the student. If he was very upset about the death, like, why was he upset? Was he upset at the seeing it on social media? Because I know there were a ton of videos about this, um, about Charlie Kirk's death. I mean, some of them were pretty gruesome too. Or was he sad because he personally, um, felt connected to Charlie Kirk based on, you know, what he stood for? So I don't know. I don't know if that's something that you would want to relay to the whole staff without being ultra specific, just because it's kind of a charged topic, you know. But I don't even know if I'm articulating this correct. But there's just something about that just kind of like went, I don't know, there's something off about this. What were your thoughts?
Specifically with regard to your organization or just the entire massacre or not assassination itself?
Oh wait, Sam, hold on, okay? Hold on. Testing. Hello?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you hear me? I'm
I could
sorry.
hear you,
Okay.
and I think you were talking about Charlie Kirk. Was it with somebody else?
No, I was talking about Charlie Kirk in that email that I had sent to the GCC chat. So yeah, I don't know what those concerns were.
So you were talking about the organization, right? And whether that was appropriate to share or was oversharing? Is that
Yeah,
the, yeah.
exactly. That's just pretty much what I was, you know, like I don't know if that was appropriate to share to like all staff.
Well, here's my 2 cents on that one. Actually, it's not even 2 cents. It's free, okay? Here's my free thought on that one. Nonprofits, especially charitable organizations and ones that serve the community, they stand for certain values. So it's not a profit motivation, it's a community service which is driven by some kind of social benefit value.
Oh,
Now,
Sam, can I stop you
yeah,
right there?
sure.
This is actually, and I apologize if I didn't make this clear. If I apologize if you are getting at something, but I just want to make it clear that this email was sent within Ventura High School. So it was from a Ventura High School's teacher about a Ventura High School student.
I haven't
When
seen the email yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Was it sent days ago or was it sent just last night?
No, I think it was sent like maybe even a week ago.
Yeah, maybe I think I did see something a long time ago. Yeah, so hang on a
Yeah.
second. Uh,
So it was shortly after the Charlie Kirk death. And my cousin actually screenshot it and sent it to me because my cousin actually works in Ventura High School with the special ed students.
yes.
So he sent it to me and he's like, "What are your thoughts?" And my first
Uh,
reaction was, "What the fuck?" My second reaction was, "I would love to like run this by my GCC group, you guys."
mhm.
And so he was all like, "Yeah, let me know what they think." And
Okay,
so
I'm
that's
trying to
why I
find it.
copied and pasted it. It should be under the regular GCC chat.
Okay, let
And
me find it there. I was trying
yeah,
to look at the email. Let me find it in the chat. Hang on. Where is it for me?
and then I also sent it to you.
Oh, this is the one where I said, "Hey, too bad nobody else has a
Yes,
response." And I actually said, "Oh, I have some collected responses to this." Yes, in
yes,
fact, let me bring up my notes on this one because this is like over a week ago,
yeah.
and my memory is my memory chips are old. Okay, GCC. Let me look for GCC. I think you did put it there. Okay. Ah, right. I see the screenshots now. Okay, here. Let me say, what do you think of this? Blah, blah, blah. Dear colleagues, I'm a conservative Christian, visibly upset, young Hispanic, had tears in his eyes, 500,000 monthly viewers, and I listen to these faces. Okay, so let me, there's obviously good and bad, or, agreements and disagreements on this one. I think from a notion of creating a safe space for people, if I'm understanding this right, that appears to be the motivation that, hey, we need to make this place safe for at least this kid, if not for everybody. But this person doesn't seem to see how Charlie was making the entire country not safe for a lot of other people. So it seems very hypocritical to me to say, oh, let's make it safe for this one kid or for conservative Christians when Kirk and other conservative Christians are making it unsafe. And if they don't see that, then that's a level of prejudice slash privilege slash racism slash stupidity. All of that is possible, possibly in combination.
Right.
That,
But
yeah, go ahead.
my question is, why do they feel unsafe? Because
Oh,
you can like, that's like, you know, that wasn't my question to the group, but that's just my internal question. Like, how do you feel unsafe about this? Like, are you afraid that somebody might say something like, "You're stupid"? Okay, I could see mentally you may feel unsafe, but I don't see any, um, anybody on the left or anybody who does not agree with or doing anything harmful to people
yeah.
who don't agree. I don't see that.
I personally don't either. And I think there's only two possible ways I can interpret this. One is, well, geez, I have these views, I might get shot. Okay, that's the extreme one, which is addressed by your concern that, hey, I haven't seen any left-leaning progressive people say, hey, let's go shoot somebody.
Right.
But the other, which is probably the wider case, is they view disagreement as unsafe.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very juvenile position to take.
Yeah. Right.
Very juvenile, very closed-minded, very
Yeah.
dogmatic, very religious. But for conservative Christians who are taught to believe and not question, to believe and not disagree, this is the way they're conditioned. This is why being a conservative Christian or any religion turns off your ability to think because you're not supposed to in a religion.
Right.
That's why I think it's dangerous for society, and that's what makes our future survival very questionable because we're not going to level up if this is the way people are taught to not think, to just accept, what's been shoved down their throats or brains, and to don't look at it critically. Don't look at other sources. Don't look at the line of reasoning, the bodies of evidence, the facts, the scientific studies. If they're taught to ignore that and only consume what's told them on Sundays or Saturdays or in this, one very, very edited and transfigured book, this is bad for the future of people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, I think with their training, their culture, disagreement to them is unsafe because disagreement allows you to question their fundamental beliefs,
Yeah.
which is their identity.
Right.
And if you're going to question someone's identity, yes, that to them will feel unsafe.
Yeah.
And if I may add one more point to that, one of the people I really, really admire, Friedrich Nietzsche, he's of the exact opposite position because he has a brain. And he says the unquestioned life is not worth living. You gotta, I don't know whether he was the original one to say that or he said it in different ways, but he says you basically have to tear yourself down, meaning you have to tear down your belief systems and everything you think, okay? And then reconstruct it from the ground up in order to really understand who you are.
Yes.
And very few people can even understand that, let alone do it.
Yeah.
So most people are just unconscious. I gotta tell you, I know very, very many close people to me who are that unconscious. And when you bring up these points, they say, no, we can't talk about that. We got to talk about something else. Hey, by the way, how was your last trip to so and so? And, how's your son? And, oh, wasn't that dessert really good? And, man, I just feel that that sort of time wasting is just, life is too short.
Yeah.
And I know I'm on the record, but, I have a large extended family. Just 45 seconds on this one, maybe.
Of
And every
course.
Saturday, there's a Zoom session, and usually about a dozen to 2 dozen people across 3 generations. Well, actually, no, it's only two two generations, sometimes three, because sometimes you see toddlers participate. And I used to participate. In fact, I organized some of the very first ones. But then, when I said, well, we have to talk about Taiwan independence and we have to talk about, the politics here in the US, and it was actually my brother who said, no, we don't want to talk about that. I said, he didn't even ask everybody else. He just said, no, we don't want to talk about that. And that's
Wow.
why I don't go to those Zoom sessions regularly anymore. I check in maybe once every couple of months, but yeah, what a waste of time because I understand that it's, hey, bonding and whatever to say, oh, well, Uncle so and so is going to share his pictures from this trip to Japan like 40 years ago. Okay, that's fine. But still, is that way more important than what's happening now, today?
Right, right.
So even my close family, see, I think that they're so smart, they're so successful, they've established financial stability. They know that, there aren't ICE people coming for them yet. That it's kind of privilege to not worry about these things. And that privilege is what's going to lose those rights for so many others.
Yeah.
And I see it even in my family.
Honestly, it's easy for most people to turn a blind eye. It really is, especially if they're not working with it day after day.
Yeah,
It's really easy to have prejudices against, the poor or the unhoused or, prejudice against the marginalized,
yes,
criminals. I have a deep
yes,
prejudice against criminals. Um, if you aren't working with them, if you aren't seeing the root of their problems, it's very easy to have that.
it's a depth of thought people don't go to when they just drive down the street and say, oh, geez, how horrible. There's an encampment of tents and homeless people there. Let's avoid that. And just as
Yeah,
you say, without understanding, how did these people get into that situation? How come there's
yeah,
not a better support system for them? Because so many people are that close to being in that very same situation.
yeah, exactly.
And they're not bad people. Some of them are very well educated. Some of
Mhm.
them are just, suffering from past trauma, a certain specific bad decision,
Health problems, the
maybe.
perfect storm,
Exactly, exactly.
you know?
Or bad family situations.
Right. Absolutely. And those lead to really bad choices too. Um,
Absolutely.
that may seem like a really good option, like drugs, talk about drugs.
To escape.
It's probably easier for people to be on drugs when they're on the street. Hell, I
Yeah.
probably would too,
Uh,
just because it's very difficult to like see the world happening, um, see everything happening, and nobody is helping, or very few people are helping, and there isn't enough. Having worked for a homeless shelter, it's there's I can't imagine, okay, because I was in Laguna Beach when I was working for the Friendship Shelter, and they had a an emergency shelter that was run, by the police department. They also had transition homes, and then they had permanent housing too. So it was kind of a three-step shelter. But we employees, especially the new employees, from time to time, we would have staff meetings about the emergency shelter, and it's very difficult for anybody to try to get a job, try to like, even for veterans to get their um, to get any assistance from the government, you have to have an address. So the way, I don't know if you know this, but the way these emergency shelters are is like you have to go there, and I don't know if this is the same across the board, but you have to go there. Well, first of all, if you happen to land like an overnight stay, let's start from there. If you got lucky, you still had to get out by like 7 or 8. And there's only so much showers, you could have, or bathrooms that you could have too. So, and then you have to come back by like 4 or something like that to sign yourself in to be able to come back later on that evening, and have a place to sleep. And so that again makes it very difficult because some people who do have work or who do find a job, and obviously most people who are homeless don't have transportation, otherwise they would be living in their cars. They don't have a way to come back in time. And that is if there is a spot open for them. And with the homeless population suddenly booming, I cannot imagine what it's like in these emergency shelters now. And it's just not a way to live. It's just not a way to get work, to get, to save enough money. Again, you have to have an address. And I believe in Laguna Beach, you could not use the emergency shelter address. And so what would happen is if some of the people that applied for transitional living were lucky enough to, again, there was a wait list, were lucky enough to get assistance from us, that's when they would actually have an address, and that's when they can actually help themselves. But again, hurdles. Most people don't have health insurance, and we only had like a certain amount of resources. So unfortunately, a lot of these people were addicted. They're addicts, and it was very difficult for them to stay clean. And so every night before they came home, they had to take a test. And if they failed the test, they couldn't, they were out of the program. And so there were only so many resources that we could help. I just remember it was like the emergency shelters. I remember they smelled. I'll just be straightforward. You don't have to take a drug test. You can go in there high if you want to. I just can't imagine. There was always like a line, from what I understand. The police officers had a more intimate relationship with a lot of the people who frequented the homeless shelter, which was really interesting. Because they were able to successfully get them off the streets when the community pushed for that. But the transitional shelters, they were the people who went to the transitional shelters, they came by the office to apply. And I remember feeling really triggered by one in particular who was very violent and reminded me, unfortunately, of, somebody that I dated. And so I just remember just thinking, like, I can't imagine even working with people who have mental health issues or people who are violent or addicted. So anyways, I don't know why I ranted, but thank you for listening.
I learned certain things when you were talking about that. I didn't realize certain of these difficulties that made it so hard for them to sustain access to support.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably stuff that my daughter knows more about.
yeah. And I learned another part of it too through the jail. When we did a tour at Todd Ranch Jail over here in Ventura, most transients, a certain population, I think, were repeat offenders. I think they said 30%, something really interestingly high, of people who go to jail are repeat offenders.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain population of that are homeless people. And it's only because they really want that service offered at the jail, because at the jail, they have access to showers, 3 hot meals a day. They have access to healthcare. I mean, yeah, I'd go to jail too.
If the other alternative is on the street, yeah.
Yeah. And that is the sad part, because our jails for profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's plenty of money to be had. It's just being hoarded and obviously not distributed evenly or fairly, by whatever administration we have at the time. And I have to say that even our past administrations have failed the American citizens in one way or another, and probably contributed to the demise of our economy and our way of life. So it just kind of boils down to for sure. And it's been broken for a long period of time.
At the moment, I bought into the, yeah, war on drugs. Yeah, let's get rid of drugs. But it was a euphemism for war on black people, war on poor people, war on so many of the disadvantaged. And it was a way to, convert all of that um, population into privatized prisons. I'm learning more and more about that as time goes on. But it was sold under war on drugs, which sounds good to people who want the drugs off the street.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember there was one thing that you said to me about the United States is that it's very deeply rooted in racism. And, back then, I don't know if I agreed entirely, but now I totally agree with that statement. Because when I was with the American Red Cross, I remember there was a lot of talk about just PR and how we really have to represent ourselves in a certain way. And so we had PR training. And it was only because of the disaster that happened with Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana. In fact, obviously the Hurricane Katrina happened in what, 2006 or something, 2007? I don't remember.
Oh,
But the American Red Cross was still providing services to, victims of that disaster, even when I went on board. I think in 2012 is when I went on board. So 6 years later, right? Because it took a long time for them to fix the district that was affected. But we had sensitivity training on that area, and it was primarily because we were a lot of people primarily because of racism. I'll just say that. And there's a documentary out in Netflix that just says it beautifully, and how like a lot of the people in that districts were housed in some, I don't know, sports complex center, and there was like thousands of them, thousands, and for whatever reason they were held there for several days without access to food or water. So obviously they're going to go and go to shopping areas and commit crimes there. They want food, they want water. That's what I would do. I would
sure.
go like break into a grocery store and get what I can get for, there was children, the families, that I forgot what district it was called, but that certain district, it was low income, and it was a place where, marginalized people, mainly people of color, were able to afford a house. And so there was, in that documentary, they said like the news portrayed it as everybody's violent, they're committing crimes and stuff, when it is just people trying to survive. And there was like a picture of a black guy holding groceries on top of his head, waist deep in water. And they're just like, look at the crimes and stuff. There are people looting and destroying the city. And then there was another, this almost the same identical picture of two white people holding like resources above their head, waist deep in water, like and the caption was like something like community members are desperate for resources, need help. So that those two portrayals, it just shows the racism that's here in the United States.
Yeah.
And how so many people, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I was on a walk today and I started to think about that. I'm like, well, why? And I'm going to be just straightforward, and I know I'm on the record. Why are white people pissed off at at our way of life? I've experienced racism too. I remember when I was a kid, we had a party during the day in this country club, this country club place where one of my relatives or a friend of a friend had rented out for a party. Okay. And from what I remember, it was just a party. We just had music, we had food. There's a lot of us, but we rented that space like somebody lived there. Everything was done like there was no question about it. Yet the neighborhood full of white people, one in particular was so angry that we were there that her husband was trying to stop her from confronting some of the adults there. And the lady was like, it's, my relative's mom or something, some adult that was in charge of that whole thing. She said, it's a party. She's like, what do you want from us? It wasn't like we were bumping the music. It was just casual music on a boombox.
Mhm.
Nothing crazy. There were no drugs. There was drinking, but it was a regular party that was probably more tame than my own parents' garage parties. And that was like one of the many examples of racism that
Yeah.
I had seen as a kid. Okay. And so it just makes me wonder, like, why do you guys hate that? Like, why? It's what's wrong with that? Why do you associate a way of life with crime? And it just makes me think of, well, probably because they don't see, the injustice done on people of color. And where does that come from? Why were people so insistent, to colonize and overpower, peaceful societies that had it down pat, that could feed itself, that didn't live off of capitalism? What was that? Anyways, I feel like I've been ranting this entire time, so I'll give you the floor.
Oh, let me just ask again. I know I've recommended it before. Did you ever get around to watching the documentary called 13?
Yes, I did.
That really opened my eyes. It's very, very stark. You know the hangings that just happened this past week?
No, I did not see that.
Two black men were hung this past week, I think in Mississippi, I think. They were
No, so we're
just
going back to
seen
that.
hanging from trees. And you know what the police called it? The police called it suicide.
Mm,
What that tells me is the police are complicit.
yep.
This is in the South after all. I forget where. It might have been someplace like Delta University or something like that. It was on some campus, I think. And yet you see much less about that than you see about Charlie Kirk.
No, yeah.
So mainstream media is also part of it. Racism runs really deep.
There's this one woman. I watched this on TikTok, um, and I almost sent it to you, but I couldn't save it. I was going to save it and then send it to you, but I couldn't because I know you're not on TikTok. But I think she was a former reporter or something. But the title of the post was, "Why are you? Why is MAGA still mad?" And she broke it down. She's all like, "You guys already won. You have your president. You have the Department of Justice. You have this. You have that. The police will do your bidding. Um, you know, all of the Mexicans are in encampment. You have it. You win." But yet there's still this anger and there's still this like need for violence. Like, why?
I'll take a shot at that.
Go for it.
Because people that don't look like them still live in this country. People that don't think like them still live in this country.
But what was so bad about what about people who don't look and live like, them? What was so bad about that?
Because they think they are human and others are not.
Yeah, I think you're right. It just goes back to this deep-seated racism.
Yeah. I mean, even women weren't considered people until recently. Certainly, blacks weren't considered people until recently. They probably extended that to other ethnicities. Chinese people were subjugated in this country. The
Hmm.
Japanese were interned, subjugated in this country. I heard another take just the last couple of days from someone who said, the Puritans didn't come here to escape religious oppression. They came here to practice their own religious oppression, not to escape it.
Right.
But the story that's told in the history books is very different, obviously. It's very whitewashed, literally whitewashed.
Yeah.
And that has been systemic now for 500 plus years.
Yeah.
That's how deep the racism runs. Germany was able to get over, not get over, but at least reconstitute themselves as a decent society because they outlawed certain Nazi symbols and thinking, and they go after people who are, hate mongering again. That's still allowed in this country. Confederate flags are still freely flown in this country.
Yeah. How was Germany able to get over that though?
More people came back to Germany. That was my understanding. And they basically, told the story very, very plainly. And then they decided to prevent that from ever happening again. I don't think it's 100% successful, but at least they took those steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
The smart people in this country are being oppressed. The Kimmels, the
Yeah.
Colberts, the Noam Chomsky's, the Bernie Sanders, the AOC's, Jasmine Crockett, Westmore, Cory
I love
Booker,
her.
those guys. Oh man, the more I see of Jasmine, the more impressed I am with her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Even more so than AOC. AOC is certainly staunchly, on the right path, but AOC can be articulate even more so than AOC. Sorry, did
Yeah.
I say that right? Jasmine can
Yeah.
be more articulate than AOC. I love the way she puts down, God, what was it? She was in an interview with, I think, what, Cash Patel or somebody like that? Because
Yeah.
you are, like something like, you are the most unqualified person to do. And he started to say something, and she said, I didn't ask you a question, and just shut him up. I love that. Not enough people do that. Gavin Newsom maybe is getting there, but he's been less in the news lately.
Yeah, I know. Where's Gavin
Somebody must have
Newsom?
got to him.
Yep.
I hope it wasn't his father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these smart voices are being silenced. And
Yeah.
silencing is just the very first step.
Yep.
Germany went so far as to execute some of them. And I know that even Trump has said words to that effect.
Oh yeah.
And he's taking the Hitler Nazi playbook and he's just going for round two.
Hmm. But
And that, yeah, go ahead.
I still feel like he's kind of a puppet and that this Project 2025, was created a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. It's been created for the last 500 years.
Yeah. Well,
Somebody's been there taking notes.
yep.
And I don't know it, but I suspect the KKK's in there somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mhm.
We've been warned. There were so many warnings.
Hmm. I tell you, I got to give Reagan credit. He did two things that were brilliant. One was trickle down, which is still damaging society.
Yeah,
And the other
yeah.
was he let his wife lead war on drugs. Man, that was so brilliant. And I'm really disappointed at the tech bros billionaires that are just sucking up to Trump. You see all those at the dinner table around him?
Oh
I
man.
despise them. I despise those people.
The tech bros.
All given their 30 seconds or 1 minute, to suck up and, kiss Putin's ass, at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Putin's ass, Trump's ass, but basically the same ass.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say.
Mhm.
Sam, you could totally mess up and I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah. No.
How much longer before you get to Damien?
45 minutes.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
I didn't put on my GPS, but I gave myself an hour and a half.
You know the
So
route.
maybe sooner. I don't know. I'll gas up if I'm there too soon.
Yeah.
But I have money for a new car for him. Well, not a new car, you know what I mean? But like a
Another car.
used. Yeah. A part of me is like kind of maybe maybe he should just fix the Toyota that we have because Kenny said that it's going to cost like $3,000. And part of me is like, oh, good. I can only give him $3,000. I'll keep the
Yeah.
rest.
Well, head gaskets are notoriously expensive to resolve. That's my
Yeah.
understanding, not being a car mechanic.
Yeah. But 3,000 is better than five.
Yeah. I don't even know how much you got to pay for a brand new car these days. I don't even know if you can find one in the 20s.
No, I know. Did you see that they have like the ID Buzz Volkswagen and it's all electric? They look like they kind of look like the old Volkswagen
No,
walking
I
around
haven't
there.
checked into that.
Oh yeah. I saw them at the dealership that's very close to my house because when I go to my parents' house, I always drive by the dealerships. And I saw that and man, I'm like, oh
Let me look
now
it up.
those range from 50 to $70,000.
Holy
I
Bajeet.
just started looking at it. Okay. So I don't really know if it's reliable or anything. Obviously, it's brand new. I think it did come out this year. If not, it came out last year. I don't remember when it came out. I'm not really a car person.
Holy
But
bleep.
wow,
$63,000. It's a used 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. $63,000. Used.
yeah. I think the gas mileage, because it's electric, it's like, I think it's like 263, which isn't really much, Well, the charge, I shouldn't say the gas mileage, but the charge isn't really much. 263
You mean the charge
per
costs?
charge. Yeah. So it's from what I saw, it looks like it's more of a commuter bus, but I mean, that thing really should be equipped for road trips. To me, that's like, I would want that car for a road trip.
Well, with that body style, you can do a lot with it.
Yeah, you can. All three
I mean,
dogs can easily go.
yeah, I mean, there'll be conversion companies, taking that and making it whatever you want because there's so much room inside, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if I mentioned to you, but my family used to have a Volkswagen bus way back
yes.
in the 70s or 60s. Jeez, that was a long time ago.
I know. That is, dude.
You weren't even alive then.
No, I wasn't alive.
Nope. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know. My very first boyfriend had a bus too. He had always wanted a bus.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he had a red VW bus.
Did he have a mattress in the back?
No, he did not. He was broke and boring.
Still better than rich and corrupted, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, totally. No, that was my last boyfriend.
Ay, 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 ay.
I don't know about the
Say
last.
more, Kayla.
He was just rich and idiot. Oh yeah, I think everybody heard about my last boyfriend. That's I was getting over him when I first started going to the GCC sessions.
I think I recall that. Yeah. I think you
Yeah.
still had his credit card. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's right. Oh, I wish I withdrew some money.
Ah,
I know a couple of friends were like trying to convince me to go to like Mastro's, the famous steakhouse.
I never heard
They're
of
all
it.
they're all, dude, you're single now. You need to like buy some clothes and go to Mastro's, go find yourself a rich guy. And they're all, and then take me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. One of them in particular was adamant that I do that. And I just could not bring myself to do that. I know he's a fucking idiot, but I just couldn't bring myself to do that. And I'm like, I don't know. Unfortunately, I've turned into a good person.
Yeah, you feel better about yourself now than if
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
stuck him with thousands of dollars.
Oh God, that would have been amazing, huh?
See, I
I
never
should have
even
bought my
had that
diamond rings from.
experience. I got to tell you, I have never had the experience where some rich woman said, here's my credit card.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's a
never
fantastic
happened to me in my
experience.
life.
We would go places and he'd be like, well, oh, can I get that? He's like, yeah, get whatever you want. Oh, gosh, imagine that.
Trivia
I
question.
took my
How did he make his money?
well, his family had some property and he also kind of scammed it because he was injured and he um he got like what is it, workers' compensation.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he got a lot of money for workman's compensation, and his parents gave him some money too. In fact, I discovered that I think the condo in Mammoth went to him, the house went to him, and then the sale of the grandparents' house, which sat on this like lot that was actively used by farmers. So that was like a couple of $1 million. I think that was split between him and his siblings, but he got a lot of money. He got like his dad's old car too, and that car was like redone, and it was just like perfect. And from what I understand, he sold most of it. He sold his condo in Mammoth. Um, he initiated the sale of like the grandparents' property. He sold his dad's car before he ruined it. Um, and yeah, and I think he's still getting workman's compensation.
None of that says self-made.
Nope. Yeah, a lot of these, I don't know. I think people who have a lot of money tend to be, you know, interesting in their own right. But yeah, he was kind of scummy.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Also, dangerous trivia question. Was he white?
Yeah, man, he was blonde and blue eyed.
Ah,
I was living the ultimate white dream.
I could use a crude word, but I won't.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the epitome. Wore golf clothes and stuff. Had that like entitled sneer when he smiled. Yeah, and his one of his good friends um, asked me like, why I'm with him, and he goes, "I can only imagine it's probably the money. Otherwise, you wouldn't be with him." I was like, you know what? You might be right. So, but in the end, I swear, this is where again becoming a good person unfortunately doesn't happen. I couldn't. At the end, I just straight up told him, I said, I'd rather be poor than be with you because at least I know how to live poor. He does not know how to live poor, and I think he sold. That's why he sold all of his shit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's the epitome of the standard joke. You know how you make a small fortune?
What?
Start with a large fortune.
I know.
When I first heard that joke, I thought, yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah.
I'm in Facebook jail again. I can't post anything.
Oh yeah. You're totally on Facebook jail all the time. Now Stacy's on Facebook jail. What I see, well, with her conservative groups.
Yeah, I think they finally got to me with all my anti-Trump stuff.
Yeah.
Well, time to leave Facebook, I guess. Just happening all the time.
Yeah. Just post. Don't post anything on your timeline. I guess. Stay on
Well,
Facebook for. I don't know if I have your cell phone number.
I bet you probably do because when you came up here, didn't we communicate via cell?
Did I?
I'm sure we probably exchanged it. In fact, let me look
Yeah.
in my directory in my phone and see if you're in there. Let me see if I search for Kayla. Uh, no, there's some woman who wants to sell me a financial product. That's the only Kayla that I see in my phone.
What financial product was it?
Some investment thing. Was
Okay.
that you? I
I
don't
don't.
think
No, I don't
so.
think so. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have investments.
Yeah,
Worthy
Sunrise Capital.
investments.
Sunrise Capital. That's the only Kayla. Oh, there's another Kayla from a gutter replacement company.
Ah,
Oh, wait, 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 wait. Oh, yeah, here's another one from Oracle. Yeah, I don't think you're in there.
yeah. See.
All right, let me, yeah, we'll exchange it off the air so it's not on the
Yeah.
record. Okay. In fact, I'll just put it in Facebook Messenger so you got my phone number. Okay, typing it now. Okay, it's in Messenger.
Awesome.
right after my Tracy Abul's sarcastic post on my part about transgendering children. What does Trump mean when he says children are being transgendered at schools? What is he implying? They go to school as boy, they come back a girl. Remember he said stuff like that?
Yeah.
How stupid do you have to be to believe shit like that? So I go on this rant in response to her, just for the record here, I'm putting it in the record,
Yeah.
about, hey, do you think the school staff can do this transgender surgery? You think they're equipped? You think they have this, sterile OR room with, magical staff that just appear, and disappear without being detected, and that other kids can't tell? And then my last comment was, or is it just the use of pronouns that's got you so uppity?
Yeah. I saw that.
Jeez.
Someone wrote something like, "You're crazy," or something.
Yeah, I got a negative feedback, but I live for that.
What was the negative feedback?
Ah, geez, let me see if I can find it. Something like, "Don't just show up here and be so sarcastic and stupid."
Yeah, I'm not. I know I'm being sarcastic, but I definitely am not stupid.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
Yeah, right. Was that comment from her?
No, it was from one of her supporters.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I don't care enough to go look it up right now.
yeah,
I do think that culture is a huge aspect of how people can either communicate well or
of
collaborate
course.
well or co-create well. And it's an underappreciated thing. And man, racism is at so much of that culture in this country. It probably still exists in other countries, but probably not quite as rampant and unchecked.
I still just don't understand why racism is prevalent in the white culture. And
It's
there I
because
said it, the white
they
culture.
know, they know. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They know that their success has been built on the backs of broken black people.
The backs
They've
of
known this,
everybody,
yeah. Well, in particular, black
everybody
people
else.
in the South, yes.
Yeah,
And then, the railroads were built on, Chinese people.
yeah.
And now agriculture is being based on, the Hispanic people. And look at what food prices have done, since we started deporting farm workers.
I feel like every single person that I know who is a person of color had once wanted to be white.
Yeah, because they saw the privilege. It was so apparent.
Hmm.
It's a natural thing. Wouldn't you want that if you didn't have it?
Hmm.
It's been obvious to all the others except for white people.
No.
They don't
And there
see it
seems to
or they
be
don't care.
an accepted superiority complex to, this made me laugh about like the entertainment industry. So I'm part of these two Facebook groups. And one of them is called the Crazy Mom and Dads of Child Actors. And yeah, rightfully so. They are very crazy. So this one woman posted a photo of her daughter, and her daughter was smiling, and that's it. Daughter was smiling, and she goes, "My daughter has this rare neurological disease that makes her eyes squinty when she smiles." I started laughing right after that, and then she wrote, like, Are what ways can we make her eyes bigger when she smiles without it looking unnatural? And then she posted another picture under the comments of her daughter looking very unnatural with her eyes widened while she was smiling. And so a couple of people actually commiserated with her and said, yeah, my son or my daughter, their eyes get a little squinty when they smile. I would just say, make sure that they're not in front of a, bright flash. Make sure they're not in front of the sun. And I just had to say something. I said, hey, your daughter looks quite normal to me. She's just smiling, in my opinion. She looks perfect. There's nothing that you need to do. And I
Hmm.
said, from one squinty eyed person to another, I would say embrace the squint because, some of us can't help it. And, you know, um, anyways, I just said something to that effect. And then I posted a picture of Max. And after that, like, nobody said shit because they saw how fucking stupid that was, right? That was like the dumbest thing in the world. And then one Asian lady like dared to say, I hate it when people do that. Like, like, your standard of beauty is how wide your eyes are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it just like, it's everywhere too. That superiority complex, that standard of beauty, all of that good stuff. And so now when somebody posts pictures, and I've noticed it too, nobody can tell me, oh, it's not there. Oh, this racism not there. It's superiority complex. Yeah, it's not there. You know how many like white kids get likes on that group? And that's probably because there's a lot of them, versus anybody else of color.
Yep. Yep.
And so every time, somebody else of another, race or origin posts, I'm always very, quick to like that. Whether I think their children are, beautiful or not, I still try to uplift, the people who's unfortunately been suppressed for a very long time and continues to be suppressed. So, and the sad part about it is Hollywood would probably say that woman has a point.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about it.
Yeah. And if they can do that with eyes, imagine what they do with boobs, with butts, with waists, with arms,
Yeah,
with
with height.
foreheads, with hair, with cheeks, with lips. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
I just came across something that said 25% of Korean women have had plastic surgery.
Wow.
It's evidently very, very uh, socially impactful to look beautiful there if you're a Korean woman. And
Oh,
they have the
yeah.
sense that they have to modify themselves in order to look that way.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It is across the board with most women.
Mm. And I can get it if men are really that shallow
Mm.
and that women feel that they have to please, quote unquote, a man.
The male gaze. I don't know how many times I've heard smile, and I just bared my teeth. You'd look so much better if you smile.
Yeah. I wish I could fire back.
Yeah.
You'll be a much nicer person if you weren't so cruel. I'm surprised that the Epstein, I, I guess I have to say the women violated by Trump and Epstein haven't yet published their list. I wonder what they're waiting for. They've known for decades who these people are.
Yeah.
What are they waiting for? A book deal? Can't be that.
I'm
Can
pretty
it?
sure most of them are scared.
Yeah. 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 And they've probably been hounded ever since they made that announcement, too, with threats.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And yet some people can still live in this society and say, yeah, well, it's going to all blow over. I don't think it will. Trump's trying his darndest to not ever have another election again. And not enough people realize that. We don't have a competent Democratic Party that can oppose the Republicans right now. They're completely incompetent.
Oh, so embarrassing.
So, in a way, we have to say, hey, we deserve what we get because that's what we've created or allowed to be created.
Yeah.
And we're living, what, Germany's in the 30s? And we've
Hmm.
heard that warning hundreds of times, and yet we're still doing it.
Yep.
I guess most people are okay with it. And we're even supporting Israel, who's committing genocide.
Oh, I know. That's so sad. Oh my gosh.
They don't care how many children they kill or starve.
No.
And evidently, having it done to them was bad, but them doing it to other people, hey, it's completely okay.
Yeah.
There's hypocrisy right there, also. I get retribution, but there is something called going too far.
Hmm. Oh my gosh, not to change the subject, but they're really widening the 405. I was just stuck
Is
in
that
traffic for and
so? There's
now I'm
construction
out of
right now.
traffic. Oh, well, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's down to two lanes on the other side. They're widening the 405 big time.
I got to tell you, I'm lucky enough to never have lived in LA traffic.
Yeah, that
But
is what keeps me out of LA is the traffic. Like I just can't imagine why anyone would what in their right mind would want to live in like their cars for the majority of their life. Because I feel like that's, if you're somebody that likes to go out, unless you live in the city where it's walkable, California is not really walkable.
yeah,
Um, Even in the like in the city, it's like Los Angeles is too far spread apart, and it's not accessible by any other means of transportation except for largely your own personal vehicle.
right. When's the last time you took a bus somewhere down in that area?
Well, yeah, I don't take buses.
Exactly.
They're
Exactly.
gross, in my opinion.
Whereas in Taiwan and Japan, public transit is clean. It runs on time, like to the second.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe it, but when you're waiting for the train, there are these indications on the platform where you're supposed to line up because that's where the doors are going to open. And people actually line up there and they don't push and shove. They let the exiting people come out first and then they walk on
Oh
in
yeah.
the queue order. There's these
Oh boy.
videos of Japanese children taking trains and public transit to go to school or go to, visit parents or whatever. And they're like, what, 4, 5, 6 years old? They seem to be completely safe
Wow.
on their own.
That is amazing. Did you see um oh wait, you said Japanese, right?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. You were not in Japan.
I mean, it might happen in Taiwan, but I didn't see that there
Yeah.
so closely. But what were you about to ask?
I was just gonna ask if you saw like the 4 or 5 year old, but that's what I said. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
in Japan. Oh yeah, you weren't in Japan.
right, right.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Look at this. Oh well, it's a good thing
More
Max
stop
is
and
14.
go?
No, it's just the other side of the 405 does not look fun. Um, and it's 9:43, so that means that hopefully I'll get to Long Beach in a decent hour. So I can either take the 10, which doesn't look good at either, or I can take the 405 and just push through the traffic.
One of the reasons I always have Waze on is because it'll tell me where there's traffic and it always gives me alternate routes and how much time it'll take.
Yeah, I haven't checked out Waze. I should. Oh,
Yeah, I expected it to get integrated with Google Maps, but they've kept it separate. And I still think Waze is, maybe I grew up with it, but I like Waze better than Google Maps for driving.
mm,
Now, for walking inside a big city, I like Google Maps. It does a pretty good job.
I just use Apple.
Hmm. Apple has that cool 3D effect that I was impressed with. I don't know that it actually changes the quality of the path.
Yeah, it's not a lot like it's not accurate most of the time, but it's like generally fine.
Did you know that the guy that originally released Apple Maps, I think 1.0 or whatever, it was so bad when people didn't like it that he got fired?
No, I just remember the first time, might have been Apple. I don't remember. It might have been something else, but I remember the first time we actually got GPS. It was like leading us to like dead ends or like
Yes,
streets that no longer
yes.
existed.
Which, by the way, was a problem with the data, but people blamed the GPS system and the manufacturer. But that's really primarily a data problem.
Yeah, yeah. I just remember going, what the fuck? It's not, and then you're just like, oh shit. So for a while I remember having my Thomas guide still, because like that was more
Oh
reliable
man,
than yeah, the
man, my
Thomas
brain has
guide.
not
Remember
heard that phrase in decades.
that? Oh my gosh.
I wonder
I
if you
don't
could go
remember.
to a gas station these days and actually ask for a paper map. Remember, you used to be able to do that?
Yeah.
I even wonder if they have them anymore.
Yeah, they were less than $1
Wait, some of
too.
them gave it away for free.
I don't remember that.
And you used to be able to plan trips and go to AAA and get these detailed maps with, somebody highlighting the route that you're supposed to drive.
Yeah, I remember that.
Ay, ay, ay.
I still like to look on a map from time to time.
A paper map?
Yeah.
Why? What do you see there, and what can you do there that you can't do on a screen map?
Well, for one, I just like paper. It's just easier on my eyes, you
Okay.
know. And then the second thing I like about it is to see the big picture in one place. I know you can
Hmm.
do that on the screen, but again, I think it's probably just has to do with my eyes and the nostalgia of paper too.
Yep.
I like to open a map and just like see everything right there and go, oh yeah, and just um contemplate the different routes.
Yep.
Like when
Let
I'm
me
going to
guess.
Vegas.
You still read books on paper, right? Not
Oh
on a
my gosh,
Kindle?
I love it. Yes, I love books on paper. In fact, I was just thinking about this woman who was selling like her book set. It had just various books. It was like, I think 15 or a certain amount of books for $15.
Uh-huh.
Or like she was selling like $3 each. Yeah, it was good. It looked really good, but I was kind of like, I don't know, you probably get this for free if I hold off. Just waiting for her to list it for free.
The Island Library here has a shelf. You probably have it at your local library too. It's basically you contribute a book, you can pick up a book. Or if you
Yes.
don't contribute a book, you can just pick up the book and just contribute $1.
Yeah.
And it managed to stay completely stocked all the time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter used to go there and pick up some books there and really enjoy that.
I can't wait to see what that guy says when you meet with him about your properties.
Oh
I
yeah,
hope it
that's happening at
works
noon
out.
today. Yep.
Yeah. I still think
Hmm.
that, if you decide to rent one part of your house, the existing one that you're on right now, the one that
Hmm.
overlooks the sound,
Hmm.
I still think you should live on the upper floor.
It is a nicer place.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
upper
You
is
deserve that
nicer
view.
than the downer. And I can
Yeah.
justify perhaps by saying, well, if you can't afford the higher rent on the upper floor, the lower floor is less. Maybe somebody will go
Yes,
for that.
exactly. Because whoever rents the duck house, um, you know, has all that land.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, you have that could be your long-term attractive rental right there.
Hmm.
And then the one floor below you could either be like an Airbnb or, some for somebody who can't afford the duck house,
Hmm.
but still has access to overlook to that view that you have. They just have to step outside.
Well, look, I don't, if I'm going to be overseas, I don't want to have to do this. But if you could manage this remotely, if you want to do it, I was open to some consideration like that.
Yeah, I'm still happy to manage. I just wouldn't be able to put any money down on the house that I wanted.
Right. And if you manage it, you can get a certain portion of the proceeds from it. You just have to have a local person, like maybe this guy that I'm connecting with at noon today, to actually, do some of the repairs and, handyman stuff around the house.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So I'm gonna say, hey, to this guy that I'm meeting, if he quotes me a pretty high rate, I'll say, well, I'm looking at other people, and you can be one of the people that I'm hypothetically negotiating with.
Yeah,
And then, if
just make sure.
necessary, you could come up here once or twice a year and check it out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be
Hmm.
amazing, right?
Hmm.
That would be like kind of a vacation home.
Right, as part of your managerial duties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So in fact, if you would take that on for both houses, the management, the marketing, the contracts, the paperwork, the agreements, etc., the legal issues, and just have this guy be the guy you call to say, hey, take care of this leak or replace that door or do this cabinetry, blah, 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 that could work too.
Oh yeah. I'm I'm down for that for sure.
Hmm.
I would just need to know your budget for some of the repairs and
Yeah. Well, this guy, supposedly he does a lot of it, and if I could work out a deal with him, see, he wants to rent the duck house.
yeah.
And so he seems motivated. I think I told you, he already told his wife that he found the perfect place.
Yeah. I just hope he's okay if things work out and I get the duck house.
Well, I did tell him, hey, if it's a rental, we'll only sign rentals for 1 or 2 years and we can consider renewing it.
Yeah,
And if he wants a longer commitment, then I'll increase the rent.
right.
And if he wants a right to purchase, I'll definitely increase the rent because I myself was under that kind of agreement with this house.
Yeah. I remember when you purchased that house. I
I,
remember when you purchased both.
yeah. When did we meet each other? Because I bought this house in 2021.
2020, like right
Wow.
um the during the spring of the pandemic.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, so let
I
me ask you
remember.
another trivia question. How much before that had you gone on a date with Josh?
Oh, probably yeah, I mean he is the reason why I met
I
the GCC.
remember.
Yeah, I think let's see, we went out. Did we go out twice? Yeah, we went out twice. Yeah, probably like early spring.
Early spring would be March.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Oh, fucking shit. Sorry. Just like suddenly slammed. Sorry. I always like freak out when it just like suddenly comes to a stop. Not because of, I'm going to slam into someone, but I'm always afraid somebody's going to slam into me.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. I almost want to say February or March. I just don't remember. Like, I just remember it being sunny, but I don't remember wearing, like anything that was like heavy. So I almost want to say around the springtime.
Hmm. Yeah, man. So it's been 5.5 years now.
Yeah, yeah. And then shortly after that, I know he met Pusella, I think in the summer,
Hmm.
because I remember he would go to the GCC meetings and then she would be in the background up in the
I remember
mountains.
that. That's right.
Yeah.
She never came and talked very much, I remember.
No, I do remember they both talked to me at one point. Like, we had our own like little session and it was fun.
Hmm.
I wonder sometimes too if fatherhood really changes a man.
It does.
Like I don't know. I feel like he was a little bit more carefree before he became a dad.
Or let me put it this way. It should. It would concern me if fatherhood did not change someone. And I have one person in mind when I say that.
Yeah. Who?
The person you know.
Uh,
Another crush of yours.
oh, ew. You had to bring that back.
Sorry. Uh,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it should change. Your responsibilities should change, but the person
yes.
you are, I just feel like, okay, but you know what? Maybe I should concentrate on myself, right? When I was yeah, I guess maybe when I think about it. So when I became a mom, I was, first of all, I was very much in love with the kids, very
Hmm.
much in love with them. It caused a rift between me and my ex. I think Kenny was very jealous of the how close I was with Damien or how much I loved him.
Hmm.
And there's just when I birthed those kids, there was something about motherhood and just about them, maybe in their infancy stages, that I absolutely, positively fell in love with. I
Hmm.
could not get enough of them. I wanted to be their everything. That
Hmm.
was kind of my obsession pattern with them. Now, unfortunately, what changed me is my marriage to Kenny. And I know this is again on record, but um, I changed because he did not agree with what I had wanted to do or the person that I became when I became a mother. And he had some right to it too because I really did kind of neglect his feelings. But it's just kind of like when you're obsessed with something that's new, right? Sometimes it takes a while to get over it. But I did not think that what I was doing was harmful. In fact, if he had been on the same page as me, if he had loved the kids as much and fiercely and as passionately as I loved the kids when they were first born, I still love them, obviously. But then I probably would have loved him just as much, if not more,
Hmm.
because of that shared collaboration in this new journey as a parent. That's what I was
Yes.
really seeking in a partner.
Yes.
And I had hoped that most that our lives would be centered around really bettering the family and ourselves, you know. But instead, it became kind of a power trip. This is what I feel like. It became my values versus his values in child rearing. And I could not
Hmm.
understand his values because they were actually rooted in abuse, with his parents and his background and everything. So I just could not understand why he had not wanted me to form the bond with my kid. And I couldn't back it up because I didn't do my research either. But I just, instinctually as a mom, I just didn't think there was any harm at all co-sleeping with my child. Maybe the harm would be, accidentally killing them. But like, I didn't think it was anything to create a type of independence for them. And now that I am more educated, I realize that, loving them and giving them all of that support actually does create more of a strong basis of independence for them in the future. But I didn't
Hmm.
know that back then. I just knew that what I wanted to do is be there for them and protect them. And so the dynamics, our family dynamics changed me as a person. But as a mom independently, and this is probably why I really wanted a divorce, is because me as a mom by herself, I feel like I have not really changed. Does that make sense?
I can see what you're saying, but I was puzzled a little bit, and I got to thinking a little bit too much about what you said about being there for the kids and co-sleeping, because that it triggered me because that's a big point of difference and disagreement between me and my ex-wife.
Yeah.
Is because to me, I thought, why wouldn't you want to sleep with your baby? And she was of the opinion, no, babies ought to sleep in their own bed in their own room. And I didn't understand that.
Aw, you see, you and I are in agreement with that.
I mean, aren't we the only mammals that have this twisted thought that says, no, we shouldn't be sleeping with our babies? Doesn't every other mammal sleep with their own babies?
Yeah.
So that was a big point of disagreement between her and me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the
Yeah. Huh.
smell of babies, just that baby smell.
Yeah.
And I love having skin on skin contact when they're sleeping on your shoulder or on your chest. I mean, I could live for that. I mean, if it weren't for me being so old, I'd have another baby.
Yeah.
I love that feeling. I love that sense of, being able to just be. My mom calls it being a meat bed for your baby. She remembers being a meat bed for me and my brothers. Because that's literally translated from the Taiwanese. It's a
Bed.
funny, funny phrase. But
Yeah.
that smell, that feeling, that sense of calm, serenity, safety, warmth, that baby smell. Ah, I can't get that today.
Yep.
Anyway, that was one of the several, maybe even many points of disagreement between me and my ex-wife.
Yeah. You know, you really do have to be in alignment with children if you want your marriage to work.
Yep.
I didn't realize how big that was.
I mean, there is a jaded perspective in today's society that unless you do want to have that alignment and have children, why get married?
Yeah. And it was, I don't know what fantasy, why I thought that my fantasy would play itself out with Kenny is because he was such a good person when I was dating him. He was so fun loving. He was so like very intelligent, um, worked hard, but he was just like very loving to me too. And I thought maybe that would translate over to the kids. And it did not. It completely changed him. Fatherhood completely changed him. Marriage completely changed him. And it wasn't for the best too.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, if he was that doting and loving, you can certainly not be faulted for thinking that would extend to the kids.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable perspective to take.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to know somebody until you really get to know them. What is it? Like the hot water test?
Which hot water test? You mean the
That's kind
frog
of
one?
the frog one. Sorry. I don't know. There's something about like, you got to test the strength of food, that's boiled in hot water. I
Ah,
don't
okay. Yes, that's right. Another way of saying it is you don't really know somebody until you see them angry.
know. Yeah.
And how they handle disagreement or disappointment or anger. And
Yeah.
certainly don't marry somebody unless you see them angry.
Yeah. That was my
I've made
fault
that
too.
mistake.
Yeah. I totally made that mistake.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, I never told you about my dad.
Oh,
Oh
what
well.
happened?
No, nothing. I was just gonna give you an update about my dad. But
Is
he's the
he
same.
stable?
Well, he's kind of in and out of it a lot more now. Like for instance, he's um, he could understand us, like he knows that Damien needs a car, all of that good stuff. But then sometimes he mixes Damien up for my brother, you know? He could hear us, but sometimes he doesn't look at us because he thinks we're talking from another side of the room. So, uh, like, thinking about complex things is hard for him now. Like, he could think about, again, Damien needing a car, but he cannot think about his finances right now. He can't, um, look at his bills and be able to, see that. So my sister and I are helping my mom. And in fact,
Hmm.
I wanted to tell you, I'm coming upon Damien's house pretty soon, or Kenny's house.
Hmm.
But I wanted to tell you that I've made amends with my mom,
That's
and I don't know if I
fantastic.
told you that.
No,
Yeah,
you haven't.
yeah. I think I even told her, like, for a long time I was mad at you, and I said I really can't tell you why, but that's why I didn't want to visit you and Dad, is because I was mad at you. And I said, now I feel really bad because, it wasn't really a good thing to do. And so now I kind of see where I was wrong in judging my mom the way I did. So she really doesn't mean well. She doesn't mean, no, she means well. She doesn't really mean half of the
Yeah.
things that she says. Like, she
Yes.
doesn't mean it in the way that I took it.
Hmm.
And I know everybody was telling me that. I just, you know, I can tell you why I probably think the way I do. And unfortunately, it does have to do with both Kenny and my dad and how they treated my mom and people with lesser intelligence. But if anything, I feel like with my mom, it's more of it's not so much the lack of intelligence, it's more of a language barrier. That's what I see when it comes to my mom. Is it's not that she lacks a lot of intelligence. I think just like her language barrier really prevents her from, being able to articulate in the way that we know, and plus the cultural barrier, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. It's been very peaceful, and it's like the family that I've always wanted with my parents, my sister and my brother is happening now. Even though it's a little late, and we all wish that certain things were a certain way a little earlier. I'm happy to embrace the way things are right now, if that's making any sense.
Kayla, I'm very happy for you. This is life changing.
Right.
It is.
I know.
Does your
you know
sister know?
oh yeah, my gosh, she and I have been like coming together for the family, and I just feel really bad. I do feel very guilty and responsible for not coming to these senses sooner. Like, I definitely knew better. I just hung on to my anger.
Well, the good news is that's the past.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Because you won't notice it, but other people around you will notice certain things that you won't notice with this realization.
Yeah, I know. I know I was on record a lot for calling my mom a dumbass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I know that's going to come back to me, and I'll feel lots of shame and regret for that, you know. So it is, unfortunately, my karma.
But it's still a very impactful moment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully that's a learning lesson for people to now be on record and say, I was completely wrong and I shouldn't have done that. And there's no excuse. So,
Oh, there's plenty of excuse.
oh yeah, of course. There's always an excuse, right?
Exactly. I mean, it could be politically insensitive, but that reminds me. Do you know Bill Burr?
Yes, yes.
You
I
know
love
his
him.
shtick about hitting women?
Yes.
If you you remember what he said about that?
Did he say something like some women deserve it? I don't remember. He
He
wasn't the
says,
only
"You
one.
can't believe this bullshit that this thing. You can't hit women. There's no excuse for hitting women. There's no reason to be hitting women." And he says, "Are you fucking kidding me? There's plenty of reasons to hit women. You just don't do it." And he does a much better shtick of it. He goes on a lengthy
Yeah.
scenario. So that to me is an example of collaborology. You know.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Agreed.
And by the way, I
Oh
think
God.
stand-ups and comedians and guys like Colbert and Kimmel, they're some of the smartest people on the planet. They've gotten to
Absolutely.
that far, and they're so much
Um,
smarter than these dumbasses that are controlling our budgets and governments and policies and laws.
yeah.
God, I can't believe it. It just fries me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You must be getting close.
I'm here. I'm already I
Oh,
texted um Damien and told him that I'm here.
okay.
So um maybe I should go. Well, plus it's already 10:13 and I'm sure you want to get you know,
Yeah, I'm probably
you
gonna
want to
go
get
take a
going.
shower.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are cultural things that I do think will tie themselves back to my CSG theme here of collaborology and why we understand each other or can't communicate with each other or can't collaborate with each other, can't level up.
Yeah.
All of those themes are rooted in some of the stuff that we do talk about.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to cover some of these bases and have them as material for future conversations.
Yeah.
Not the least of which it
Absolutely.
is good to catch up with you every once in a while.
Of course.
And perhaps on some more personal topics, we can actually get together asynchronously and talk about some of those in detail.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are always fun, especially the ones off record.
Yeah, well, especially when, maybe I should, no, I shouldn't say this. I was about to say, make sure you have some wine. Loosen your lips a little bit.
So funny. So funny. Halloween Horror Nights is always that.
Oh, hmm, yeah, you know me. I'm going to be too scared to go out for Halloween night.
Oh my God, one last thing I have to tell you. We did look into this. So there is this haunted place in Santa Paula. It's called the Glen Tavern Inn. It's
Yeah,
very old. Santa Paula is a very old city. Um, Hi, sweetie. I'll say this in front of Damien since he's here. I'm talking to Sam. You remember Sam?
okay.
Okay. Um, so the Glen Tavern Inn is um, it's an inn in obviously in Santa Paula, and Santa Paula is a very old city. And it was at one point like, a brothel on the third floor. I think it was like a speakeasy or something like that. So the first two floors were, where the rooms were, and then the third floor was like a speakeasy slash brothel, whatever it was. And so anyhow, supposedly all of this stuff happened where like a prostitute was murdered and her body was like stuffed into a closet. And then they also have, uh-oh, guys blocking. But they also had, some gunfights or something, just a bunch of wild, wild west stuff there. But on Halloween, Max wants to go to this one to go to the place. They're gonna have all these ghost hunter stuff set up. And they've got all kinds of things like voice boxes and I don't know what they're called, some EVP, or I don't know what they're calling it, some laser scanning thing where like it'll detect shadows or something going through the room. And so he wants to go there. And the the tour that is available is at 11:30 in the evening. And anyways, I'm a little afraid. I don't know if I want to like, subject my kids to that. I don't know if I want to bring a spirit home. Not that that would happen, not that anything would happen, but still, if you want to
Well, it
talk about
might.
scary, yes, I Halloween Horror Nights over that any day. Even though it still piques my interest that I might actually ask my friend Addie if she wants to go. But again, I think we'd probably have to bring the rosary and some sage and a bunch of other stuff
That's
because I don't
right.
want to
You got to
bring
go armed, you know?
yeah, picture of the Pope. Who knows? Whatever,
You'll
So
be Ghostbusters. You got to have your own, what is it, that little
yes,
meter that tells you whether or not there's a spirit that's present.
I need
You
like
got
the
to have something to
plasma.
gather the
Yeah,
ectoplasm or whatever it is that they're going to
yeah,
smear all over you.
exactly. The trap. We have to make
That's
sure
right.
that
That's
I don't
right.
get slimed.
And don't let the other spirits that are already in there escape.
Yeah. So if you want, you could visit and go on that with me. Then
Oh,
it'd be
right.
you,
Yeah,
me, and
that's
Addie.
that's highly motivating.
Exactly. Then maybe I'll entertain Max coming,
It's
and
not
maybe
just
Damien.
Max, not just Max saying, "Mommy, protect me." I'm gonna say, "Hey, Kayla, protect me."
Well, we could all bring, rosary. We could all bring that. So,
Okay, well, let me go on record here. It's not gonna happen because they don't exist.
stop.
No, I don't
There's
know
your
that.
science right
I'm
there.
open to being proven wrong, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I haven't had that evidence.
exactly. There you go. You
But
can gather evidence.
exactly, that's a data gathering. That's a data gathering event. There you go.
Exactly. There you go. We'll put it on
And
Zoom.
if I was a proper scientist, I would take that opportunity to go and collect some data, right?
You're up, but you're not, huh?
Well, let's see how good of a scientist I am.
Exactly. There you are.
Call me on my bullshit, okay?
I know. Yeah. I just sad that I showed Max that like a little later because they did have like October 17th available, but I think we were busy that day anyway. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh well.
That's the potential weekend that I'm supposed to be in California for my Stanford 45th reunion.
Ooh, Stanford. You hear that? Are you applying for Stanford? Ah!
Yeah, tell
He said,
Damien if he
yeah.
has any questions about Stanford, I'd be happy to answer his questions. Obviously, I'm very biased, though.
Yes. Sam said he's biased, that he'll answer any questions that you have about Stanford.
Yeah.
He said nothing yet.
Okay. All right.
Take Damien with you to the reunion.
Yeah, he could be my date.
There you go. Yeah. There's your date.
Yeah.
Maybe you could rub elbows with the, person that makes the decisions and, you know.
Well, the Google founders came from Stanford, right?
Ah, no.
Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
Oh,
And one of their professors gave him, a few bucks to start the company with, and now he's a billionaire.
oh shoot. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Introduce Damien to those people. Maybe like he'll get a scholarship.
Yeah. I'm in this whole area, Silicon Valley. There's a
Yeah.
time where, and I think it's still true, where half of the tech world is actually, within like 15 miles of Stanford or so.
Yeah.
One, some number, 20, maybe 25, but, still, you get the point.
Well, I've got to look at my contacts for the VCLA because one of the presentations that I enjoyed when I was in Sacramento was of this gentleman who, was a high level, I don't know, financial guy for the state of California. And
Mhm.
he was like comparing, what was going on with our economy. And he was very straightforward. He's like, I'm just going to let you know right now, it's pretty bleak. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect anything less than that, description of our economy. But he did mention, he was just saying, this is a high, this is a low, like just giving data. He did mention something about like he feels like the reason why a certain part of our economy is a little high is because of Silicon Valley and because of their pension plans or something like that. It was very, very interesting. But yeah, Silicon Valley.
Yep.
It triggered that presentation memory. So I just have to see. I don't know if we were emailed those presentations, but I wanted to reach out to him anyway, just thank him for his presentation. I know it's been over, several months now, but I still want to say thank you for your presentation. It was very insightful. And, just make that connection, not because it has anything to do with my organization, but it's because I actually liked and appreciated his brain as a
You know
human
what you
being.
could do? Reach out,
What?
express what you just said, and ask him, hey, have you updated this data given recent economic events, especially since the administration has imposed certain policies? That'd be an interesting way to get him to update.
Ooh, yeah, you give me that information.
Yes. Have you
It should
modified
be
your
public.
projections? Have you
Yes.
had any new updates to your data set? All that sort of set of questions.
Yeah, I think I'll do
There you
that.
go. Free consultation for you for today.
Yay. All right. I'll let you go so you can prepare for your meeting.
Okay, all right. Say hi to
Okay.
Damien and tell him I got bad stuff to say about Stanford. Tell him don't go there.
Sounds good.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay,
Bye bye.
bye.